and it'll say something like, there'll be an option saying, I don't use Unity in a professional capacity, which is us. So you can go ahead and use that one. And that will give you a personal license that you can use. So I think I have here, personal license used. For this, you can just click activate new license. And then here you see Unity personal. I don't use Unity in a professional capacity, and click done, and it should activate. But you do need to be logged in for this. Then afterwards, once you have that set up, you're logged in, you have a license, you can go under installs. All right, and over here, there's a blue button in the top right that says add. All right, so this is the part that most of you probably have missed. Right? So if you don't have anything showing up here, I have 3 because I have a couple versions already installed. All right, but if you don't have anything showing up here, this is where you need to actually install Unity. So you would click add. And then in here, Riley, are they using 2019.3 for this?
2019, yes, 2019.3.
Yeah. So you're gonna find the version here that says 2019.3.15F1. Doesn't really matter what the part after the .3 is, right? But you're gonna select that one. Then you're gonna click next. And then here for the options and like modules that you want to install, the only like important part is you need to have this part that says Microsoft Visual Studio Community 2019. All right, this is what we're gonna be using to actually program for Unity. All right, without it, it might be a little bit tricky. Everything else you can just leave as default, but just make sure this one's checked. And then you can click next, and you can click I agree, done, and it should start installing over here onto your computer. All right, the installation procedure may take a little bit of time. So if you start it right now, hopefully it will be done by the time Riley gives like a short introduction and shows you kind of the ropes of Unity. All right, but if you haven't yet done that, go ahead and make sure you do that right now. And if you have any trouble, we are here right now, so we can try to help you guys out with that. All right, so if you need help, you can go ahead and write that in the chat, and we can get working with that.
Very good. Was everyone able to follow that? Okay.
So guys, yeah, if you're having trouble, what you can do is just share your screen. So at the bottom of Zoom, there's a green button that says share screen. If you click on that and select just like screen or desktop, depending on what kind of computer you're on, you can use
2019.3 max.
Yeah. My thing, I downloaded it, but it's not working at all. It's not opening.
It's not working at all. Yeah, Callie, you can share your screen.
And then we'll take a look at Ajwad.
Okay.
Okay, then let's take a look at Ajwad's first. You can go ahead and share.
Ajwad, yeah.
Also, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, please do correct me.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, I have Unity 2019.3 here, but it doesn't open up.
Okay,
Can you open Unity Hub?
Yeah, I have it open already.
Okay, and can you click on installs?
oh, he has no license.
Oh, is that the issue?
Yeah, so can you click that button that says manage license? That's just the bottom.
Down at the bottom.
Yeah. And here you need to log in, so click log in.
Log in.
You can log in with a Google account if you have one.
Yeah.
Or if you or maybe yeah, just scroll down. There's an option for Google there. That might be more convenient if you want.
Oh. That should work.
Yeah, and then you can scroll down, allow it to do things. Okay, and I click activate. And Unity Personal.
Unity Personal.
And I don't use Unity in a professional capacity. And then you can click done, and it should hopefully let you do everything now. Okay, so your license is good. And now just You can click. Can you click the back button like above preferences?
This one.
Yeah, and then you can go installs. Okay, and just you can try to open the 2019 one. So click the three dots, I think. Is that not how it works?
No.
Oh, okay, maybe you have to open it elsewhere. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So you
no,
can just
no.
go-
The best way to do it is to go into projects.
also create a project from here. Yeah.
And then just add a new one.
Click new.
New.
Yep.
And you can give whatever name you want. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. Using the 3D template will be fine.
Okay.
You can call this like first project, and then we'll do some basic stuff in here.
Okay, so then I just press create.
Yep.
Yeah. And it'll make it, and it should hopefully open up now.
Okay.
You're good.
Yeah, there you go.
You're all good. You can stop sharing now.
Okay. How do you stop sharing exactly?
There should be a button up at the top.
I just press the pause share.
No, not pause share. You want stop. It should be a big red button towards the left.
Here, stop share.
There you go.
All right. So who else needed help? Khalid, if yours is working now, you can share yours.
I'm gonna try.
Oh, okay, Farhad, you also have the same license problem. So can you click the button that says Manage License? Wait, Farhad, did you need help? If you share your screen, we can help you.
Can I share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know how to activate it, my license.
So go ahead and sign in with Google.
Okay. Is there a way I can use my iCloud account or?
No, not iCloud.
With Google, yeah, I don't think so. You can if you wanted to create a new account, you could use your iCloud account, but that would probably take longer. If you want, you can sign in with Google and just use your like Westmount account if you have one.
Yeah, I can only use my Westmount account. I don't have another one.
Yeah, that's probably fine for this though.
Okay.
And then later you can create a new one if you want. No, this.
No, sign in with Google.
Yeah, click the button that says sign in with Google, and then type in your email. Zachary, we'll help you out after Khalid finishes up here.
That is weird. Oh.
Okay, no, and just click the allow button. Scroll down. Allow.
Okay. Zachary, you can go ahead and share your screen.
Yeah, you can click allow.
Okay, does everyone have 2019.3 either installing or installed? Or is anyone still struggling? I guess I should be asking.
I'm still struggling.
All right, Farhad, why don't you go ahead and share
you
your
can
screen?
share your screen.
My name is not Farhad. My name is Arman.
Oh,
Arman?
sorry. In Zoom, it shows different name. Can you rename him?
Yep, just on that.
Okay, can you share your screen then?
Okay.
How do you spell your name?
My name is Arman.
How do you spell that?
Armaan.
A-R-N, did you say?
M.
No, Arm.
A-A-N.
No, ARM.
ARMAAN.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Zachary, just go ahead and activate license and then go to installs and add. Armand, can you click manage license?
hmm
Okay, here you need to, okay, you need to log in. Can I do this real quick? Can you click approve on the thing that pops up?
Okay.
Okay, Armand, do you have a Google account?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
I
so
have a Gmail account.
awesome. Okay, we're gonna sign in with Google then, and then can you go ahead and just log in with your Google account? So email and password. Just you can type it in.
I need to ask my dad. Wait.
Okay, that's fine. Riley, is someone's asking if 2019.4 is okay?
It should be okay. It shouldn't have too much of a difference. You might have some features that we don't have. I don't think there's any huge changes between 2019 and 2019.4 though, so you should be just fine. But if you run into any issues, we'll deal with it. It comes up. So yes, it is okay, Max.
What happened? Something went wrong.
Just keep going.
What? Something went wrong on my screen.
What do you mean something went wrong?
Oh,
Okay, no, try logging in again.
okay.
Keep going. Type.
Neither, Zachary. There should be a back button in the top left. Just hit that.
Where's that A button?
A
Where's
is
that
on the left.
fancy A?
Shift, and then the number 2.
Oh,
Hold down the shift key and then hit the number 2.
Oh.
There you go.
I don't know what my password is. Okay, I need to.
What's your question, Ajwad?
It's asking me to download 2019.4.
Why?
20.
It says to install the newer version, 2019.4.
Is there a button that says
Oh,
like no?
don't. Yeah, just don't worry about that. If there's a button that says no, just hit that.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Riley, can you make breakout rooms?
Yeah, I can.
Do you want to break me out with Zachary real quick? And Khalid. Put both of them in there.
Okay. Manually assign. Create rooms. Assign. Tim. Zach.
My dad says I have to wait.
All
I
right.
have to wait.
I'm also gonna put Armand in your breakout room.
Okay.
Okay, you should have gotten a pop-up, Armand, to go
Yeah.
to a breakout room. Can you follow that? Same with Zachary.
Should I press join?
Yeah, hit join. Okay. So everyone else who's here Okay, so everyone who's here, you all have Unity 2019.3 either installing or successfully installed, right? Okay. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and just start an introduction. I don't want to get too far ahead while we have people away and also while you're still installing, but I'm going to at least show you what the next steps are going to be. So if I go ahead and share my screen, yes, I want to share. Perfect. Everyone, so this is Unity Hub. It's just a place for us to manage different versions of Unity. If you want to update, it's really easy to do. You can just go ahead into installs and install a new one. It's the easiest place for managing everything together, but it's not where we're going to be spending the majority of our time. Where we want to be spending the majority of our time is actually in Unity. So we do this by creating a new project. You can just go ahead and hit the new button, and if you only have one install, it'll just pick that and use it. Or if you have multiple installs, you can choose which one you want to make a project out of. I'm going to be choosing 2019.3. Oops. And this window comes up. If you want to save it in a particular location, you can choose that down here by hitting the 3 dots or by typing in the full path. You can give it a name. This is going to be I'm going to give it a bit of a long name for record keeping purposes, but you can name it whatever you want. When you get into here. Now you'll have to have a Unity version installed to be able to do this, but that's all we want to do. There are a bunch of different options to pick from. The standard, a bunch of different templates to choose from. The standard 3D template is generally the one that I go with. 2D is for 2D stuff. We won't be covering that very much at all, but it's there if you want to be using it in Unity. And 3D with extras just has a couple of extra things, but nothing that we can't bring in our own selves. So I'm sticking with the 3D template. And once you have your name and the location and the template all chosen, you can just go ahead and hit create. And then Unity will eventually open up with the brand new project. This can also take a few minutes to do.
Riley, could you bring Armand back from the breakout room? You just close.
Oh, he's back. I'll
Okay.
just kill the breakout room then.
Okay, there you go. All right, guys. Yeah. So if you have Unity, you can pop it open right now. If it's still installing, don't worry too much. Just pay attention while Riley's doing his demonstration. All right. Listen closely and just watch.
For those of you that were in the breakout room, all I did was go ahead and create a new project with the name and then talked about some of the different options that were available when that window comes up. Didn't miss too much. While this is all getting ready and going, what kind of experience do you guys have with either playing video games or making video games or programming in general. Has anyone done any of this? Any programming or making of video games before?
Yeah, I have.
You have? Kinda? No, not really. Making one right now. In the class last year, I think. Okay. Is there anyone who's never programmed before at all? No one? Okay. That's good to see. All right. So we may be able to be a little bit more programming focused this time. We'll see where we get to. We have a little bit less time than usual, so it's going to be a little bit weird, but we'll see where we can get to. So, as you all should be able to see, I currently have Unity open. And there's a bunch of things going on here. First thing to notice is we have some very distinct different areas of the screen. Can I actually... I probably can. And then I can go like this. So, bigger. I need that bigger. Ooh. Over here, can everyone see what I'm drawing right now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. So over here, we have the hierarchy. This is just a list of everything that goes on in our scene, of all the objects in the scene and how they relate to one another. We'll talk more about that later and how the hierarchy works, but it's an incredibly powerful tool for organizing our scene and getting around. The next thing to look at is the scene view itself. The scene view is where we're going to actually be doing our designing of the scene. So where the hierarchy tells us what's in the scene, the scene view will show us where everything is. All the objects, all our cameras, all our lights, all our players, all our enemies, everything goes into our scene view, and we'll be able to see them, and we'll be able to move them around and change their size and really play with them and build out the level that we want to make. This is where we're going to be spending the majority of our time. And today's really going to be focused on how we get around the scene view and how we do things in the scene view. Down at the bottom here, we have what's called the project view. This is kind of like Windows Explorer or Finder if you're on a Mac. It's just a file browser. It shows us what's actually saved onto the computer and what files exist. This is where we're going to be creating scripts and adding different what are called assets to our games that we can then make use of later. So it's just a convenience thing that exists down at the bottom here that we're going to be using every so often. And then over on the left, we have a rather blank area that we're going to be, that's called the inspector. This is where we can actually edit individual properties on an object. And when we start getting around to adding objects very, very soon, it's where we're going to be doing the modifications, we'll be able to see a little bit more of how it's working. Now, you may have also noticed that there are some other tabs that exist. For example, we have this one up here that says game. We have next to that the asset store, which you may or may not see. We have, oops, something called the console down here, which you should be seeing. And I, in particular, have this one called animation, which you may not see right now, but we can talk about later. So these are all different tabs, and you can click on them and go to them. And we can also move these windows around. I'll show you that in a second as I hop back into Unity. But these are the other tabs that exist, and we can get to them just by clicking on them and moving around. The next thing I want to talk about is some of the controls. Up here we have the game controls. The play button plays our game. If we have any animations going on, any physics going on, any scripts that we have written, the play button will make all of those run. It'll also then turn into a stop button, I think. Maybe it won't change. No, it just looks depressed. Next up, we have the pause button, which pauses the game instead of stopping it. Over here, we have our tool controls. In the beginning, it's on the move tool. Next to that is the rotate tool, then the scale tool, and then some other UI stuff. So when I talk about changing your tool, and we'll see that in just a second, those are the buttons you want. There's also hotkeys for them. W for the move tool, E for the rotate tool, and R for the scale tool. And that's pretty much an introduction to the editor. Any questions about, actually, I'm not going to take questions just yet. Yeah. Oh, right. So we can also resize any of these areas that we want by hovering over the edge between them and dragging them around. And we can reorder things. So if I drag scene down to the bottom corner here, my scene view is now down here, and my game view is the main one with nothing very much so going on right now. And if I want to move it back, I can just drag it back up here. Oops, or I can drag it there. There we go. So this is the layout. The default layout is fairly nice. I may end up changing it around a little bit if it's more convenient to show you one form or another. But that's basically everything that's going on when you first open up Unity. Now, to actually do something, first thing we want to do is come over and click in the hierarchy here, right-click in the hierarchy here, and we get this context menu that lets us do a bunch of different things. If we go to 3D Object and select one of these, for example, a cube, we will see a cube appear in the middle of our scene. We'll also see some arrows show up on it. This corresponds to the move tool I mentioned earlier. And we'll now see that the hierarchy has a bunch of stuff going on in it. Maybe of note to us is this first thing that shows up in the inspector. It's called the transform. Note that its position has some values in it, and that these values change as I move the cube around. And I can move the cube around by clicking on the red arrow to move it in the direction that that arrow points. I can also select one of the little boxes to move it in two directions at once. I can select the cube by clicking on it, and I can select something else by clicking on that. I'm just going to set this to 0, 0, and 0. All right, now I'm going to take questions about first looking at Unity. Adam's still installing. Zach's still installing. All right, so a bunch of people are still installing.
Just want to let everyone know that these sessions are recorded, and we will send a link to the recordings after the class, after each class, so you guys can actually rewatch it. And if there are any gaps in your knowledge, you can actually close those, okay? So make sure if you're missing something to rewatch those videos after we share them with you, okay?
Okay. So everyone still seems to be more or less installing still. All right. That's fine. I'm going to keep plugging ahead. Like Irada just said, they're recorded, so you can go back and watch it. How do we design our objects? Well, I'll get to that in just a second. So the other thing we can do with our objects is not just move it around, but we can also rotate it. I hit the E key to go to the rotate tool. I could have also clicked up here on the rotate tool to go to it. And now, instead of seeing arrows, I see lines. And if I click and drag on one of the lines, it rotates my object. I'm going to reset that rotation. And if I hit the R key or click on this button here, it takes me to the scaling tool. Similar deal as before. I can click and I can scale it in the different directions. I can also click on this white box in the middle to scale it in every direction at once. So using a combination of these tools, I can change around these shapes. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and create another object. This time I'm going to go ahead and create a sphere. So I can have two different things in the scene, and I might want to go in and I might want to scale this a bit. And I can even put it in to here. And suppose that I want, oh, I forgot to mention, this is important. You can also move around your scene view. You can click and drag around like I'm doing right now by clicking down what's called the middle mouse button. For me, if I click down on my scroll wheel, that's what the middle mouse button is and lets me do this. If I want to look around, I can right click, my cursor turns into an eye, and it lets me look around. And so then I can use this to get the correct view that I want on my object. And I can also zoom in and zoom out by scrolling the scroll wheel.
And if you lose your object?
Yeah, and if I go way far away and I have no idea where I am, I can come and click on an object and then double click on it. Oops. I can double click on an object and it zooms me to it. Or I can click on an object in the hierarchy and then hit the F, double tap.
Your mouse needs to be in the scene view.
No, it doesn't. I then have to hit Shift F and it'll focus it.
That's funky. Okay.
And it'll do the same thing. So that's navigating the scene view. Oop, scroll wheel. Hello. Thank you. So, as I was saying before, suppose I place an object inside of another object, and I kind of like this, but I don't want it here. I want it somewhere else. Well, I can go ahead and move the cube, and then I can go ahead and move the sphere. And that certainly works, assuming I can get them in the right place, and there's no real guarantee of that. The other thing I can do is I can take my sphere and I can drag it on top of the cube in the hierarchy until it gets lightly highlighted. And then I can let go. Not like that, like that. And now the sphere is slightly indented and the cube has a little drop-down arrow next to it. We say now that the sphere is a child of the cube and the cube is a parent of the sphere. And this is what I meant when I said earlier that we can design out certain relationships between objects. So whatever I do to the cube, whatever I do to a parent object, will also happen to all of its children. So if I now move the cube around, the sphere comes along for the ride, staying in the same relative position. So it's like they're one and the same object. If I go ahead and scale it, the same thing happens. Likewise for rotation. There can sometimes be some interesting effects that happen if you have scaling and rotations applied to a parent object. In general, we want to leave the scaling of a parent object the same. We don't want to be touching the scaling on a parent object too much to avoid these effects. And we can sometimes get around and see these effects later. They're a little hard to pull off on purpose. Anyways, so that answers the earlier question from Zachary about how we can go about designing our objects. We can use what Unity gives us: a cube, a sphere, a capsule, which looks like this, a cylinder, which is like a capsule but different, and a plane. To design our different objects and our world. These are the tools that Unity gives us inbuilt to do stuff. We can get more complex objects from various different sources online, and I'll show you a couple different places to get really quality items a little bit later on. But for now, these are the tools that are going to be at our disposal. Has anyone heard of the program called Blender before?
Yep.
So if you know how to use Blender, and it's a 3D modeling software, if you know how to use Blender, you can model something in Blender, and then bring that into Unity. Unity will understand .blend files if you want, but it's best to export them to .fbx. And if there's enough interest in how to do that, I can talk about it later. But I generally don't like to touch Blender too much outside of just mentioning that you can model stuff there and then bring it into Unity if that's something that you know how to do and want to do. So these are the objects that Unity gives us. To delete an object, I can either right-click on it and hit delete, or I can hit the delete key. Click on it, hit the delete key. The next thing I want to talk about is how to give colors to things, because we all like colors. So what you want to do is you want to come down into your project file, your project area, right-click, hit create, and then create a new material. Materials are how we configure the look and feel of an object. So go ahead and create the material and give it a new name, my first material. Generally, we want to give it a descriptive name, but I don't know what I'm using this material for yet. So, and then over here, where it says albedo, we can choose a color for it. Let's make it a nice, ooh, fuchsia, why not? Wow, we don't do fuchsia very often. We can set some other properties on it, and these are how it interacts with light. We can choose how metallic it is, and how smooth the surface appears. And you get a preview of what the material is going to look like down in the bottom here. All right, so then you can take your material and drag it on to your object. If you want to have a different color on something else, go ahead and create a new material, give it another name, my second material, configure it a little bit differently. And drag that onto your other object. Yeah. If two objects, let's create another object here. Oops. If two objects share the same material, and then you come in and you change your material, say we change it from this cyan to a green, then everything that had the material on it also changes color. Okay, so using these different components, we can build very interesting different shapes and different compound objects. All right, are there any questions so far? Ah, good, you're done installing. So once you're done installing, you're going to want to create a new project. In Unity Hub, go into the Projects tab on the side, and then hit the New button. Make sure you have the 3D template selected, and you give it a name. Once you've done all that, just hit the Create button. Adam is not done yet. That's all right. It'll be the same process for you once you're done.
So how many of you actually have it already installed and can follow Riley right now. Okay, Max says me. Anyone else? Okay, so Max, I assume you're actually on the same page as Riley. Can you maybe share the screen or try it and see if you have any questions for Riley? Okay, I mean, we're trying to follow Riley when he explained how to create objects. So you basically become an artist right now, right? You create an object. Later on, Riley gonna teach you how you make them move, how you make them collide, how you actually add physical properties to those objects. But the very first basic step is just be an artist, create objects in your game, right? So did you try following Riley while he was explaining, or you were just listening? Max? Hello? Listening. Okay, so Riley, maybe maybe give them some tasks. I don't know if you're doing the Olaf or something else. Yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
So that those at least who already done installing can actually start doing something, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So now would be a really good time to start playing around with what I just talked about, getting around the scene, building some stuff out. In what way is it not working, Ajwad?
Like it's not letting me make any like the cubes or the spheres. It's not letting me make them.
Okay. Could you please share your screen?
Yep.
Thank you.
So when I right click here and I try to import like a cube here, it just gives me this. Then it's not giving me the actual shape.
Nope, that's a cube.
Like I try to expand it and then it just goes back to here.
Yeah.
It's the same thing happens with like spheres and all that stuff.
Hold on a second. Let's see. We're in the scene view.
Just reset the position. It looks like it's like super far from the camera.
Yeah. Can you double click on the cube or hit Shift F? Skip new version, Zach. There you go. There's your cube. You were just zoomed out really far.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The other thing to keep in mind while we're here and everyone's paying attention, I want you to go over to the inspector on the right where it says transform. So notice the position is like really big numbers. Well, not super big at this point, but pretty big. We generally like to keep these numbers small. When they get really big, Unity can start to choke a little bit. So a really easy way to get this to the center is to right click on transform.
Okay.
And just click reset.
Reset.
And then you're going to want to do the Shift F thing again to get over to the cube again. There you go. Now it's completely reset, but now it's at 0, 0, 0 in the world.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Go ahead.
Riley?
Yep.
Could you make a new breakout room and just put me and Khalid in there?
Sure. And there you go.
No.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions about these first steps into Unity so far?
The material.
Yeah, Zachary, it is fancy. And wait to see what Zara is going to show you what you can do with it.
Oh, it's gonna get super fun.
Yeah. Arman, how are you doing there, buddy? Is your Unity still installing?
What do you mean? I haven't even started my Unity.
You haven't even started your Unity. How come?
I want to finish the call. I mean, I need to finish the call soon because my dad needs some help with some stuff, I guess.
Wait. No. That's not how it works. So you have to follow us while we're doing it. So we're giving you some time to install the Unity now, but though everyone actually,
Yeah, I installed the Unity. I just don't have the license.
okay, can you share your screen? Maybe we can help you to go through that.
Okay. I mean, like, I could do another password. I mean, I could do another account because I don't know, because this is my dad's account. I can do mine.
Right, because your dad weren't available to give you his password. Yeah, do yours if you have an email to log in with.
I know my password, but I need to ask my dad again for my email.
Can you do sign in with a different account?
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna put you and Arman into a room together, Irada.
Yes, sure. And everyone else, guys, if you have any questions, don't wait, because it's hard for us in online format to see if you are struggling there. So make sure to reach out and make sure to actually let us know that you're not following, okay? So you don't create any gaps down the road. Okay, so Arman, you're gonna get the invitation. Make sure to accept it, and you and me will go to the.
Actually, I don't think I can create another room right now while Tim and Khalid are in his room.
Oh, okay. No worries. Maybe we'll wait a little bit, and then when Tim is back, he can actually take Arman.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
For everyone else, you can go ahead and stop sharing, Arman. For everyone else, I'm going to hop back in to Unity and so colors. Question about colors. Oops. There you go. Remember, to create a color, we right click down in the project to get this menu here. We go create, and then we create a new material. And when we do, we're gonna get something like this. And to set the color, we click on the white box next to albedo to get a color picker to come up. All right, Zach?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, Adam, go ahead and see if you can make a project and open up Unity. Says Unity version unavailable. Okay, Adam, can you go ahead and share? That's an interesting issue.
Yeah. Very interesting, Adam. What the heck is that? Adam. Wait. Alex. I can see that you don't have a background, Alex.
Oh,
Okay. Zoom on it. Jam. Jam.
Bless you as well.
Oh, I have my thing on.
Why Adam gets up?
so he can move from iPad to the computer that he's, yeah.
Sure.
Can you share now, Adam? Okay. Can you click on installs? Okay. Go back into projects. And just go ahead and create a new project. It should work fine. Did that work, Adam? Probably. Perfect. Glad to hear it. Arman, question?
When are we gonna start having all of the fun?
Hmm?
When are we gonna start having all of the fun?
What do you mean?
All of the fun, like where we get to have all of the fun stuff.
Yeah, when you create the objects and then when they start moving, that's when the fun starts.
Oh,
Yeah. So we need, okay, Tim is back. Tim, can you take Arman and help him install Unity?
Sure.
Okay.
You put him in, yeah. Put him in the room.
This time.
So Arman, you should see the invitation to the breakout room accepted, okay? And then Tim and you will be in different rooms. Anyone else need any help? So the goal for today, okay, good. So the goal for today is to get you set up and introduce you to actually the user interface of Unity so you get familiar with the tools. And we'll do a little cool project at the end.
And I'm moving Armand in with Tim.
Go ahead and throw Zachary in there too, because he says he needs some help too.
Sure.
Actually, that's a good idea. Maybe just send everyone who needs help to the same room, right? Otherwise, we were waiting for you guys to come back.
All right. And sure. There we go. And now, wait, can I not? No, I totally can. Perfect. And this time, I can move you into a room if I need to, Irada.
Oh, cool. What was the difference?
I need to make all of the rooms ahead of time, and then I can assign people later. Whereas before, I only had Tim's room.
Awesome. We're learning too.
All right. So, hopefully everyone's had a chance to catch up and play around a little bit. I want to now take a little bit of a different look at Unity. So the first topic we generally go over is definitely how to move around the scene and how to get everything in place. And after we're done today, I'm going to have a bit of an exercise for you guys that focuses on that. That being said, we still have about an hour left, and I would like to try and move into the next topic and see how far we can get into there, because the two first topics go hand in hand together extraordinarily well. So the next thing I want to talk about as I hop into Unity is how we do lighting and shadows in Unity. So the first thing I want to do is plop down a ground plane. Make it decently big. Do you have some rotation on you? You do. Weird. Okay. And we'll oh. Nope. Button again. Whatever. And there we go. And just for laughs, I'm going to go ahead and create a new material again, just to make the ground a more interesting color. Let's make it a nice ground brown, and it should be not at all smooth and not at all metallic. Bloop. There we go. That's sufficiently dirt-like. Okay, lights. Lights are hard. Lights are fun. So we have our scene, and now we got to talk about lighting it. The easiest thing to do to light a scene is outdoors, because lighting generally comes down to this one light called a directional light, and it corresponds to the sun. We'll notice that I can drag this around however I want, and nothing really changes in the scene. So this can be wherever. The light's always just going to be coming from some sort of sunlight far, far away. But if I go ahead and rotate this, we'll see that has a massive effect on what's going on. In particular, we see the shadows moving around and the lighting change. And if I flip it upside down, well, now it's nighttime. So this directional light, very, very powerful for outdoor lighting and setting up where we want to go. Sure, definitely, come back. And so that's the directional light. But there are a whole bunch of other lights that Unity gives us. For example, we have a point light. It's just like the name says, it's a point of light. As I drag it around, you can see there's a bright spot on the ground that moves around. Changing the scaling of this doesn't do a heck of a lot. Rotating it doesn't do a heck of a lot. But moving around definitely does something. There's also some properties on it that we can change. We can, for example, change the range of the light, make it go farther out or closer in. We can visualize that with this yellow sphere. We can also change the color of a light, make it red or blue or green. Let's do a green light. Why not? It's in a green mood today. We can come over here and change the intensity. Note that I'm over in the inspector for all these. This makes it brighter or dimmer. And that's pretty much all of the things you want to change on a light. The directional light, if I go ahead and click on that, has a lot of the same things. It has a color, an intensity, no range, but nonetheless, by turning down the intensity, the world gets darker or brighter. I'm going to leave it at 1. The next light that we have is a spotlight. Just like the name suggests, it's a spot of light. Not really. It points in a particular direction and gives us some light. There we go. If I go ahead and rotate it, we can see the effect that it has, especially if I turn up the intensity a little bit. So now we have a bit of a slanted light. And I can do that. I may need to increase the range a bit so that we can see it all. Let's go ahead and move it down somewhat. And you can see we're now quite a ways away from that perfect circle that we had. It's definitely more angled. Speaking of that, we can also change the angle of it, make it brighter or smaller. So these are spotlights. Between spotlights, point lights, and directional lights, we can create any sort of lighting situation we want in our scene. There are other lights, but they're mainly just variations on a theme, or they're rather tricky to use. And in particular, they aren't necessary for anything that you might want to do. The spotlight, the point light, and the directional light are all the tools you need to get started. Hold on a second, technical difficulties. There you go. Oops, I hit a button I shouldn't have hit. Cool. Okay, so that's lights. Next thing to talk about is the camera. The camera is it's the lens through which your player sees the game. It's this little icon here, and if we move it around, we can see that something changes in this camera preview window down here. Whoops, that's not the way I meant to rotate it. Let's There we go. So if I go and now click on the game view or hit the play button, we'll see through the lens of the camera. Note, all those little icons for where the lights are and stuff, those don't appear, but the effect of the light, the shadows, the bright spots, those all show up. We'll notice the colors are there. The grid lines that we were seeing earlier don't show up. So we do see some differences between what we see in the scene view and what we see in the game view. But there are differences that we might like for a game. So using all of these together, we can set up our scene however we'd like. All right. So that's the technical aspect of lighting and building out a scene. Any questions about this technical aspect?
And let's do a quick check on what's installed by now.
Yeah, is there anyone still installing?
Can you give us in the chat box? Yes, if you're done installing, and no, if you're still waiting. Okay, Terran's still installing. Does it take this long to install? Like, it's been almost an hour.
Depends on internet connection.
Right. Okay, what about everyone else? Andrew's still installing. So Zachary, yours one is on, right? So you're done installing. I know you've already been playing with colors. How about Nathan, Adam? So far, I know that Zachary and Max is set up, right? Ajwat, what about you?
Ajwat is set up.
Set up, okay. So, forgot what, did Andrew say his one's done installing or he's
No,
still
Andrew is still installing.
Still installing, okay. Okay, my unit is set up. Okay, Nathan. We'll have Nathan, Max, Zachary, Ajwat. So 4. Lucas. I'm done
Lucas is done.
installing. Okay, perfect. So we have 5 people now. So we're only waiting for 4.
Okay.
Okay.
So are there any, did you guys get a chance to play around? For those of you that have it installed and opened and ready to go, have you played around with the lights at all?
Yeah.
Okay. Not yet.
Oh yeah, a little.
Okay.
All right, so do that and see if you have any questions about it before I jump into the next little thing, talking about how we can consider our lights and make use of them.
Okay, and Arman is back. So Arman, did you open your Unity? Do you see the screen like Riley's?
What do you mean?
Did Tim just help you to actually start Unity?
You mean I should go to Unity?
Is Tim back? Tim is still in that room. Okay, where are you now, Arman? Like on which stage? Can you update us on what you managed to do with Tim?
I'm seeing your screen right now.
Okay, so can you share your screen? Can you just show us what you see? And Riley, we have 40 minutes left. So I know you want to give them the homework for today, right? Should we just show them the OLAF so that they can actually watch the video and follow it, given that majority of time we spend installing?
Yeah, I will cover that. I have one more brief thing I want to cover, and then I'll move into showing them that.
Just want to make sure we catch that on the video so that they can do it on their own time by just following the video, okay?
Yeah, will do.
Okay. Okay, so this is what you see, right? So Riley, he's skipping the new version.
Yeah, skip new version.
Okay, Arman, go ahead, click on skip new version. Nice, so now you're actually on the same page as Riley, right? Yeah, and just let's take this opportunity to test everyone else. How do you create your objects? If you were watching Riley, yeah, right click on that area, right click there, right click. Yeah, there you go. You see, create 3D objects. Yeah, just go down, down, down. Yeah, 3D objects. There you go. That's where all your objects are. Okay. Yeah, that's how you do it. You just select an object. If you want a cube, sphere, right? And again, the next step everyone else does, we always recommend resetting your object so it's centered, so that your camera sees it perfectly fine in the center. And how do we do that? Arman, you see, right click on the transform. Do you see in your right hand inspector, there's a transform? Right click on the word transform.
Wait, let me, I can't click transform it.
Just scroll up. That's right section, that's right section called inspector. So whenever I say inspector, yeah. So in the inspector, the very first section is called transform.
I can't touch transform.
Yeah, there you go. Just, you see the word transform? It says, it's written transform. Yeah,
No, no, the videos are blocking it.
No, it's okay.
Then move the videos out of the way. You can just drag the window somewhere else.
Okay, he's looking at zoom at that. Maybe minimize. Yeah, there you go. Just right click on that. Click on that again to open it. Yeah, do you see reset? The very first option is reset. Yeah, click on that. Go ahead, click on that. Perfect. You see now it's resetted, and click again on that transform with your left button just to open it. Right now you just close the group, right? Yeah, click on it again.
Right click or left click?
No, left click on the word transform, not on anything else. Not left click, just a regular click. Just a regular click. Or click on the triangle. You want to open that section, right? So basically, those are sections in the inspector. And you see, like, every section starts with the triangle. So if you click on that triangle of the section, just move a little left to the triangle, gray triangle at the very beginning of that section. Okay, Riley, you want to request the control maybe and show?
Arman, on the other side of the inspector. No, go back. Put your mouse back where it was.
And everyone else actually also watch, right? How we do it. Yeah.
Move it over the word transform.
Right now, Arman, you just minimize the whole transform section. I want you to open it back so you can see the positions there, right?
Can you put your mouse over the word? No, move that back. Can you put your mouse over the word transform, please?
Down, 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 down. Yay!
Yeah. All right. Now, to the right of that, do you see a triangle?
See a little triangle like this.
I meant left. I did mean left there. That is my bad.
Yeah. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Click on that.
No,
nope.
not right
left
click. Regular click. Just a regular mouse click. Right now you're right clicking it. We want you to left click it. The other click. Other click.
I don't have a mouse. I'm using this without a mouse.
Okay, just the opposite click. The other click. Whichever click you're clicking, just the other one. There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
See how you just opened that section? Yeah. So That's what that triangle does. And it literally works the same on every section: plane, mesh render, mesh collider. So you can close them so you can see more, or you can open them so you can actually go inside and change the parameters. Does that make sense? Yeah, awesome. So again, pay attention to the numbers. You see how they're all nicely zeroed now? That's what the reset function did. Okay, so when you click the reset option, this is what it did. So everyone else, this is, we want you get to the habit. As soon as you bring new objects, so let's do that one more time. Go ahead and create another object, Arman. Create the cube or sphere, please. Remember how we do that? On the right side, where the sample scene is, right click, 3D object. Yeah, right there, right click, 3D object. Yeah. Right. And let's bring the cube, for example. You want a capsule? Up to you. Cube, nice. So the next step, actually it's already centered, right? Click on that cube. It's already clicked. Yeah, so if pay attention, the first step is to pay attention to the transform numbers. And if they're not zeroed, make sure to reset them so they are zeroed. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, so I want you guys get into the habit of that because I've seen a lot of frustration happen just because of that wasn't reset. Okay, nice. So now try to move it around. Try to move your cube. Try to move your cube around. How you do that? Obviously, to move the object, you need to first select the object, right? Now you're moving the entire scene, but just move just the cube on that plane. Okay. Click on that cube with regular click. There you go. Okay. There you go. Now you're moving it around. Now try putting it back and resizing it. Yeah. Nice. How would you resize it?
So, Arman, you don't want to be using that tool for working in 3D. I want you to go up to just above the hierarchy on the left side of the screen.
What do you mean?
Go up. Nope. And now to the left.
Under the menu, file,
going.
edit assets under those menus.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep. Okay. You see a bunch of buttons. Just up a little bit.
The very first one is the hand, right?
Move up a little bit. You see those buttons there?
Yeah, there you go.
I want you to click on the one that's shaped like a bunch of like a cross of arrows.
Yeah. Now select your cube.
Now click your cube.
You?
Yeah.
Just click on the cube.
Any object you want to change, you first have to select it.
I'm clicking cube.
Then click on cube in the hierarchy.
Click on the name of the cube in the list of names there on the side panel. Yep. There you go.
There. And now you can use those to resize in any direction that you want.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just click on the green one, you should be able to go make it shorter.
Very often you will lose it, and remember the shortcut that Riley gave. Was it Shift F9 or something?
Shift
Riley?
F.
Shift F. Okay, so you can just use Shift F on your keyboard to bring that object back. There you go. Okay, to save yourself some time. So the next thing Riley taught you guys is how to color your object. Do you remember how to do that? And this is, guys, for everyone else, is the refresher of what Riley did. So we just, maybe every class we will actually choose one of you so that you guys do that. And this will be recorded on the video one more time, right? Okay, so how we do that? To color the object, Zachary, this was back your question. You need to create a material first, right? Yes, create material, little up, 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 up. It's right in the middle there. Up, 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 up. There you go. Yeah. Click on that.
What?
If you missed it. So delete that. Yeah, create. Make sure you click on material, not on lens layer. That's the one we want. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Nice. So you want to give you which color would that material be?
I do not know.
Okay, we can do that later. Click on that material and on your inspector, you see the properties of
How do
that
I go
material.
on this material? How do I change?
Yeah, how do we change the color? So let's try to remember what Riley said. Move to inspector.
Inspector?
With you see the inspector on the right changed. Yeah.
Mhm.
See the albedo and the little picker that allows you to pick the color. No, you pressed it. Yeah, main maps albedo, and there is a square box and the little the pipette. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so that's the one that basically activates the pipette and allows you to select the color. So select the color, but then make sure to click in the box in the middle box to actually select the color with the pipette. Oh, there you go. It's actually did it. Yeah. You see how the object, the material color changes? Yeah. Nice. Okay. So do you like that color? Now just drag it to your object. Very easy. Perfect. Ah, okay. Yeah. Yeah. And it's a good habit to give your material the color name, so purple or something. So once your project has like tons of materials, they won't be all named new materials, right? Okay, so that's pretty much what Riley explained about coloring. Yeah, so that wasn't difficult at all, was it? Yeah, awesome. So the next he actually explained how to create a light, right? Maybe we should select someone else for that. So who is ready to do that? Okay, any volunteers? Max, perfect. Go ahead, Max, share your screen. Great. Okay, so Max, can you really quickly add, create the object? You want to create your object first, right?
Can you just make us a plane with a cube on it, Max?
Yeah. Just like what Armand just did.
Yeah.
Yeah, plane. The reason we need plane is that when you play that, if your objects just are in the air, they're all gonna fall, right? Yeah, plane is kind of the floor that will hold it. Yeah, perfect, nice.
And maybe, so right now you have 2 directional lights in your scene. We only want 1. Good. And maybe also give us either a point light or a spotlight. Sure. Perfect. All right. That was some good review.
Okay, and then just to see it through the eyes of your camera, the last step Riley showed, what do you click? You actually play your game. Ah, you don't see it. Weird. Why? Because your camera is not pointing at it, right? Yeah. So there is a trick how to align your camera. No, you don't need to move it. You can align your camera with the view. And Riley, you want to quickly show?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys a really cool trick for getting your camera into place. So hold on, Max. Hold on. Click on your camera. And now up in the top menu, click on Game Object. It's a menu up at the top of your screen. Game Object, good. Now down at the bottom of this menu, we have a bunch of different options. We have move to view, align with view, align view to selected, etc., etc., etc. The one we want right now is align with view. Go ahead and click that. Now, if we take a look at the camera preview, we'll notice it's exactly what the scene view is looking at. And we hit play, we can see this. So in this way, we can really easily position the camera to wherever we want it to be. It's just a really handy trick for getting the camera into position. Just make sure you have the camera selected when you do that.
So that's a really good start. So we want everyone, once your program installed, go through the steps again. Create a plane object, create the cube or sphere object, make sure to color it, right? Again, for coloring, you just go to assets, right click it, create materials, right? Yeah, so Max, if you wanna color that, how would you do that? Yeah, right there, right click, create, perfect. Material, select albedo pipette, yeah. Select the color, yeah. Awesome, and then just drag that, perfect. Good job, excellent, awesome. Right, so nothing difficult. So for those of you who are still in installing mode, so again, this video will be shared, but I think it's quite easy to remember those steps from watching. It's actually nice that you actually were watching while Riley was explaining rather than getting distracted with the playing with the tools. So I actually like that. So we should actually set up every class so you guys watch when Riley instructs and then try things on your own, right? And every time we'll pick different students so that everyone gets to try, okay?
All right.
Yeah, back to you.
So we have about 20 minutes left. So there is, I want to show you guys, okay, doing a bad job explaining myself here. What I'm going to have you guys do at the end of this class is put together a small little scene as a way of practicing the skills that we've learned and getting familiar to it. I'll talk about that in a little bit, Zach. Making objects glow is a little bit of a trick. It's hard, but I will talk about it in just a little bit. I might have to talk about that tomorrow as we're running just a little bit short on time today. So.
But right now, what Riley has, he only used the lighting. So he made them kind of glow using the light, the shadows, right?
So what I'm going to have you guys do is build a particular scene. The first thing I want to show is if you go File and Save, it'll save the scene to make sure that our progress doesn't get deleted. We want to do this incredibly often. The other thing we can do is hit Control S to save. We'll notice that we need to save. If I make a change to a scene, we'll see a little star appear next to the name of the scene over here. This means we need to save. You can hit Control S or go File, Save. That goes away, it's all saved. That means that when we open up Unity again, everything is going to come back. The next thing we want to do is File, New Scene to create a brand new scene. We can also hit Control N. The first time we go to save a scene, a brand new scene, a window appears asking for the name. I'm going to call this Snowman. Okay? The homework for today is to make a snowman scene that has something interesting going on with the lights.
Narman, this is where the fun begins.
All right. Hold on a sec. More technical things I got to be doing. And there we go. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to start with a snowman. Of course, the first thing that I want to do is go ahead and create a ground and make it ground colored. White might be a better choice for a snowman's ground, but this is what I have on hand, so I'm making it brown. It's going to be a snowman in the summer. Why not? The next thing I want to do, this is a bit of an organizational thing. I like to create an empty object, set it to 0, 0, and name this snowman. I like doing this because it keeps things nice and organized for myself. Once I have this, I can now start to go about creating a snowman. Of course, to me, a snowman is made with 3 different spheres: a bottom ball, a middle ball, and a top ball for the head. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to create some spheres. I'm going to make sure that they are all at 0, 0, and drag them onto my snowman. And just for the sake of organization, I'm going to come over here, select them, and rename them to bottom, middle, and head. All right, so now I have 3 spheres that are making up a snowman. Next thing I want to do is raise the bottom up so that it's just touching the bottom. As I happen to know, this is going to be exactly at position 0.5. And then I'm going to move the middle up until it's resting just on top of the bottom, and likewise for the head. And now I have a tower of 3 balls. But that's not a snowman yet. So I want to come down to the bottom, go to my scaling tool, and make it a little bit bigger. Maybe let's say that big? Sure. And the middle one also probably wants to be a little bit bigger, but not quite as big, maybe around there. And the head, well, the head can be a little bit smaller. And already, we're starting to look rather snowman-like. Definitely a chunky snowman, though. Let's make it just a little smaller. Right in that range. There, I like that. Now I'm going to go back to the move tool and get these nice and moved. All into position. And because I don't care about the direction of a directional, or the position of a directional light, I'm just going to move it out of my way for now. Move it off to the side, nothing changes, it's all fine. So, now I have the beginnings of a snowman. I want to pay a little bit of attention to detail to make sure that things are really lining up as I want them to line up. So I can take a look around, see how it's going. Yep, they look pretty lined up to me, but I definitely want to sink this snowball down into this one a little bit, just because as you're stacking your snowballs on top of one another, they don't tend to just contact at a point. They just kind of smush into one another, and likewise with the head. And there we go. There we go. So that's the frameworks of a snowman. Now, I might want to come up here by clicking on this Y over in the corner here. And this gives me a top-down view. It might be kind of boring to have them all directly stacked on top of one another. So I might want to just come over and move these just a little bit, just so they're slightly offset from one another. You know, no snowman is perfectly built. There we go. And now if I come take a look, and maybe that's a little bit much, but I don't know. It's almost dancey. Maybe if I move this one over just a bit like that, and then move this one back a little bit. Yeah, that's not too bad. It's kind of a dancey snowman. I kind of like that. So it gives it some personality to it and does some design. But we're not quite done yet. We want to give it a nice color. So let's go ahead and create a new material, and we're going to call it snow. And I happen to know that snow is a perfect white, which is exactly what I have right now. And I also happen to know that snow is rarely very smooth. So I'm going to definitely turn down the smoothness all the way on that. And then I can drag it on like so. And it definitely gets a little bit of a snowier feel to it. Good. The next thing I might want to do, I'm going to go ahead and come to the head. Now, if you right click on an object and create another object, for example, if I create another sphere while having right clicked on the head, it's automatically going to become a child. All right, and now I might want to shrink it down somewhat, bring it forward, definitely make that smaller. And the goal here is we're going to give the snowman a face. There we go. And before I go ahead and start placing this, I'm going to create a new material and call it coal. Coal is a very dark color, but not quite black. It's a very dark gray, almost black. And it's also very not smooth. So I'll go ahead and place the coal on this, zoom right the way in, and now I can start placing this little bit of coal onto the face. Make sure I get it where I want it. Now, if I hit Control D, or equivalently right-click on this sphere and hit duplicate, it's going to make an identical copy that I can then use to drag over and make a second eye. Likewise, I can duplicate by hitting Control D, drag it down, and make a little face. Now, because of the way these is, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge getting them all in position. And the coal for the face maybe wants to be a little bit smaller, so I'm actually going to make those just a bit smaller. We'll delete those, come back, Control D to duplicate, go to the Move tool, move it over, down, Control D, over, Control D, over, Control D, up, and over. Make sure we put that in. It's not a super fast process, but we can start doing this. Now, the nice thing about building snowmen is you rarely build a perfect snowman, even in real life. Sometimes you push something in a little bit too far, sometimes you don't get it quite straight, and we rarely use any measurement tools to get it exactly right. So, by not getting it perfect here, that's totally fine. There we go. That's kind of cute. There we go. That's a face of a snowman. Now there's a bunch of other things I could add. I could use cylinders for the hand, or maybe capsules to build out branches and do arms. I could make a top hat. I could give the snowman buttons. There are a ton of things I could do with this.
You give him a nose?
I could give him a nose. There's a ton that I could do with this. And this is nowhere near done. This is just a start to show how I would go about designing something. In particular, the snowman that I'm going to have you guys design tonight. Don't forget to save the scene by going File, Save, or hitting Control S. Now, because I went through all the trouble of creating this snowman game object at the top by going Create Empty Game Object, I can also move this all around as a single thing. That's a snowman.
Can you just show them how to shape the cylinder so that it actually looks like a triangle cylinder?
You can't make a triangle.
No, cylinder. You know how we're doing, make the nose and then make the ending of the nose pointy?
No, no, I don't.
So how would you make a nose for this snowman?
If I wanted to make a nose, I would probably go and make a capsule. I would make this capsule a child of the head and maybe call it nose. I would make it, oops, wrong tool, scale tool, real tiny. Move tool. Bring it out front, bring it up, zoom in. I would rotate it about the x-axis by 90 degrees, by negative 90 degrees. I would go to the scale tool and make it real tiny and probably longer like that. Go to the move tool. Drag it into the face. There we go. And it looks like the face is not centered. That's fine. I'll just correct that by angling it correctly, more or less, so it lines up with the face. And there we go. How's that looking? Not too bad. And then I would come in and create a new material and call it carrot. And I would make this a bright orange. Right around there. That kind of looks like a carroty orange to me. Carrot's also not particularly smooth. And then drag that on. There we go. Nose for the snowman.
Awesome. So in the same manner, you would create the arms, whatever you want to add to it, right?
Exactly.
Maybe hats, right?
So this is a place for you guys to pick up from and be as creative as you'd like. Put whatever else you want on the snowman. Put whatever else you want in the world. For example, I can come over here and do a cylinder. I want to shrink that down, but make it nice and tall. Like that. And in fact, I want to create another empty game object and call this a lamp. Reset that, move it out slightly, bring the cylinder like that, and set you to 0, 0. Good. And we're going to call you the post. And we're going to go ahead and create a 3D object like a cube. Drag it up near the top. Shrink it down somewhat, make it a little bit taller, and maybe drag it down just a bit. I can reuse the cool color for the lamppost. For this, for the actual light, let's go ahead and create not an audio mixer. Create a material, call this lamp. It can be a nice, gentle yellow. Not that. And drag it on. Now it's not glowing, unfortunately.
Yes.
I can show you how to do that tomorrow because we are running short on time, but I can also come into the lamp and create a point light. Drag this up inside of that. Increase the range. Maybe give it a nice warm orange color. Something, well, more in the yellow like that. Good. And then I might come into the directional light. Where'd my directional light go?
The directional light is like a sun on the sky, right? Whereas
And I can
the
go ahead
point
and-
lights are like the spot lights that you have in the house, right?
rotate
Like
that up a little
Brad,
bit.
did you explain the directional light?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I can do
Yeah.
that. And now it's kind of a night lit snowman. I've done something interesting with the light. So, that's
So that's a
going
homework.
to be the task for tonight. Build a snowman, do something interesting with it. Don't just build off what I have here, or sorry, don't just do what I have here, add more to it.
Yeah.
Do something
Get
interesting with the
creative.
lighting, be creative, add to it. I'll take a look at what you guys have done tomorrow as we start. And if you run into any troubles or you come into any questions, that's fine. Try to work past them as best you can. Try to work around them if you can't work past them. But remember them and come and ask me tomorrow at the beginning of class. So we'll
Yes.
see what you guys run into, what you get stuck with, what I need to show you again. We'll send out this recording as soon as it becomes available to us. That can sometimes take a little while. Hopefully it won't take too terribly long.
Hopefully, yeah, within the next hour. Yeah, we'll share it.
So that you guys can come through and look through this and see what I've done. If you run into issues with the recording or I don't explain something, or there's something that I just never go over as I'm doing it, let me know. I'll try and fix that for future sessions. With that, there are 4 minutes left.
Just one more thing I want to really show them is how to find the scene when they open the program, when they close and open the program.
Right.
Yeah.
So the sample scene is going to be in this folder called Scenes. I saved my snowman scene here as well. If you don't choose a particular location for it, when you save it, it'll just appear here. You can go into it by finding the scene. They look like this, and then double clicking on it to jump to the scene. All right. So in the last few minutes, are there any questions that anyone has?
We have 3 minutes left. Let us know if you have trouble, and let's do a really quick check on, have everyone done installing at this point? Give us know if you're still installing. Okay, Khalid installed, yeah, good. Guys, be active so we know who is on the same page. Because the next class, tomorrow is the next class, and the first thing we will do is we'll actually go and you each will share your screen and show us your snowman, okay? So there's no way around it. You guys have to do that project and show it to us tomorrow in the morning. We'll literally will go through each of you. We'll ask you to share your screen and we'll ask to see your snowman, okay? So Zachary, what
And
do
the
you
other thing
need?
I'd like to ask you for, he meant yes.
Oh, okay.
The other thing I'd like to ask you guys for, and this is just something little and shouldn't be hard. When you're presenting tomorrow, I'm going to ask you what your favorite video game is. So just think about that and be prepared for when I ask you what your favorite video game is. With that, if there are no more questions about what's going on, I think you're free to take off. It's a couple minutes early, but I think that's just fine. If you have any other questions, please ask them now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yep, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So Riley, you can
Wait.
stop the recording.
Yep.
Mm.
Keep recording.
Um,
Actually, I have a question.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Instead of materials, I used images like wood textures. Like I used like textures from I found online.
Yeah, you can do that.
Am I allowed to do that?
You're totally allowed to do that. You still have to go through materials to use them, though.
Just
Yeah.
to learn how to do that.
Yeah, I did that.
That's fine. That's definitely fine.
Yeah, I used like a snow texture for the snowman.
Good
In
job.
fact,
Creative thinking.
if you figure out some other tool or trick to Unity that I haven't taught yet, feel free to explore it and use it yourself.
And
Okay.
tomorrow when you present, yeah, talk about that. Yeah, that's
Okay.
awesome.
Because Unity's big, I'm not going to have time to cover everything. A large part of this is you guys doing your own exploration and figuring stuff out that I don't have time to teach.
Okay. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
So, yeah, we always will stick around if you guys have any more questions or need more personal attention. So feel free to let us know. Adam, how are you doing? Hello, Adam. You're the last one left.
He may have just disappeared.
So Tim, who was having a trouble?
Kelly